Welcome to Collegial Conversations with Diana Clark, the professional webinar series that offers clinical and personal perspectives on issues that are common, but often not talked about. Here is today's Collegial Conversation.
Thank you for joining a Collegial Conversation with Diana Clark. Joining Diana today is Diana Feldman. Diana is a psychotherapist and board-certified drama therapist based in New York City for over 30 years. Diana is a creator of the ENACT Method of drama therapy, which has reached over 200,000 students in public schools. She trains therapists and educators from all over the country and is currently writing a book featuring all of her work. Diana Clark and Diana Feldman will be discussing the power of creative arts in therapy. Thank you so much for joining us today. I will now pass the conversation over to Diana. Diana Clark.
Thank you, Laura Menendez. And welcome, Diana Feldman. I'm really excited to pummel you with questions today because I got all energized hearing what you've been doing. So, how did you venture into drama therapy?
Always a good question. You know, it was actually from a personal experience that I had, which was when I was in my 20s, I was in a very serious car accident, which luckily I've recovered from, but I was in a wheelchair for a year. My legs were broken. I was hit by a drunk driver. And I actually, it's a powerful story in that I realized that I wasn't going to be able to physically move my body. In fact, I thought I was paralyzed at one point because my body had gone into total shock. And I was always an actress and a singer. And I said, well, you know, how can I use that for my own healing? Because otherwise I was going to spiral way down. And
how resilient of you to pivot in your head. I don't know how you did it. You did.
It was this profound, I don't want to say vision, but like moment where I was like, wait a minute. No, I can express myself. And I can do it through, at that time, I wasn't a drama, I can do it through singing and music and writing. And it freed me immediately from feeling limited.
Trapped in a broken body.
That's how I got into it.
And so you had this realization, what some would call an epiphany, that this was a way that you could help people after that, I imagine, right? So that was how you got into it. But how did you want to be able to bring that out? What was the course of that journey?
Yeah, well, it was so powerful for me, and it got me through. I was in my 20s, it's a very important time for young people. And I do a lot of work with young people. And even while I was in a wheelchair, I had found out about a local program that worked with children and adults with autism and with nonverbal and developmental issues. And I volunteered there for a year. And I loved it so much. And I was told that, some of their clients were having pretty phenomenal breakthroughs. And so I slowly said, maybe I'm really on to something. And from there, when I healed, which took, at least a year to get back on my feet, I went back to school. There wasn't drama therapy at that time. Like no one knew what it was.
There was dance therapy, but there
and
was
music.
And music therapy, but not drama therapy. I'm guessing when you went to school.
You're right, which I love. I love, music and right. You can see. So I found out about a program at NYU in educational theater. Studied there, and through my studies, I had to do internships, and I began working in the public schools using theater activities to engage kids and teach them about theater and even create some theater performances. But it didn't feel like we were able to reach individuals with more special needs. And that I wanted to create a program that could individualize activities for people, with all ages and developmental levels. So somehow I got a group of 6 people together, and we would meet and practice and try this and try that, and then go into the schools. And we began to get a reputation of reaching people that, ultimately what my program was known for was like reaching the unreachable. We were always told like nothing else worked. Now we want you to come in and try. And so I documented from the beginning case histories, methods, and I then created the ENACT program, which, started with working with, maybe 3 schools and grew to working with hundreds of schools, and thousands of students, particularly what they don't use the word anymore, at risk, but students at risk of dropping out, students with substance abuse problems, students with mental health problems. And I ended up with a staff of 60 teaching artists, I'm in New York City, so, great actors and also therapists. And then the drama therapy became a word. I was sort of grandfathered in because I had been doing it and
created it.
and began hiring interns and actors and, was working for 30 years in the schools up until COVID, when many of our funders were public funders and needed to use the money directly for healing and health. So at that point, we sort of closed out, and I decided that I wanted to teach other people to learn the method, to spread it. So I created Drama Soul, which is a consulting firm where I train teachers, therapists, and artists.
You mumble that drama.
Oh, it's called Drama Soul, DRAMASOL. It's a consulting firm where I train others in my method, and I was asked to recently write a book about it, so I'm doing that. And I'm also in private practice in New York City. So
wow.
There you go.
So we're going to show a video clip in a little bit, but what do you credit on a therapeutic level for some of these breakthroughs? Is it that we're bypassing left brain and we're going right in? What do you?
Yeah, I have to thank you for that question. That's a great question. Throughout the years, I continued to develop the method, right? And I started to realize, like, we were called in a lot. Oh, can you work with these kids with behavior problems? And I started to realize there's a reason for these behavior problems. They're trauma-based, right? And so began to categorize some of my activities. Like my theater games are all about self-regulation, emotion regulation,
safety and regulation,
and then attachment, right? So similar, I don't know if like TheraPlay is a play therapy based on attachment, but all of the exercises are about building trust and safety and working from there. And then engagement, which is why I like to use, I don't have to because I'm working in private practice myself now. I use a lot of these techniques, but bringing professional actors in to mirror, you'll see that it's not a good video. It was done during COVID, unfortunately, but it's something. But the way that it looks is a group begins, if it's group therapy, begins with warm-up theater games. There's an initial assessment. Those theater games build trust, safety, fun, and the work is all about embodiment, which in trauma, there's somatic healing, there's EMDR, because we realize a lot of trauma's in the body, right?
And we try and distance from the body and from that experience with trauma.
And when you're traumatized, it's hard to, right? There's disassociation, which, I really learned about with so many. And my book that I'm literally signing the contract tomorrow is called Stuck in a Role, addressing childhood trauma. And it's through my years of realizing that the defense that young kids and teens, and especially if they're from neighborhoods where they don't feel safe, where there's maybe grew up in poverty, in foster
Adverse childhood conditions, yes.
Exactly. They take on different, this is the lens that it's about roles. They're the bully, they're the clown, they're the victim, they're the helpless ones. And so in this method, we have the actors mirroring and taking on these roles in a very fun way where the clients see themselves.
Putting up the mirror, yes.
That is shooting off mirror neurons and profound. And believe it or not, the way that I learned this, my first case history that I'm going to write in the book was working with nonverbal autistic. And how do you mirror that, right?
Non-verbally.
And guess what? It's called To the Moon Man. And we had somebody playing a character hiding behind a desk who was this very scared man on the moon who couldn't feel he could connect. I tell you, I write about this. These were kids nonverbal spinning in circles. So we had this actor spinning in circles, nonverbal. I do not lie to you when I tell you we took them on a journey to the moon. The end of the session, we were saying this moon man is so afraid. He can't communicate. We had him going like this and everything. The kids repeated after him, I love you, you. After it, the teacher was freaking out. They could not believe it. And that's how I learned the depth of joining somebody where they are.
Attunement, right?
And complete attunement, right? And you walk into a room with kids spinning in a circle, like, how am I going to, and I think every therapist should work with the autism spectrum, because you completely learn about attunement through that. And by the end, I was working with kids that were on their way to prison, being thrown out of school and dropping out, using the technique of mirroring an actor, playing that
the gangster. Yeah.
Right? Exactly. So now, unfortunately, because the video, I don't want to apologize for it. The actress is really great. She worked with me for many, many years, but she's playing a resistant student in this video. And of course, there isn't a group. I was just demonstrating how to try to get her more involved and more embodied. So resistant dissociated is
set up. All right, well, let's watch the video now.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Oh, hi. I hope that I'm here. Just don't talk to me. Don't ask me any questions. What's going on? There's nothing going on. Can you just do whatever? I've been here 500 times. I know what's gonna happen. Just do it and leave me alone. You guys talk.
All right, we're going to start the groove. If you want to join us, you're always.
Okay, I just told you I don't want nothing to do with this. I don't understand. What she wants to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, I've been here forever, every single time. All these people here, they don't care about me. This is my family. This is not my family. So just leave me alone. Let me be.
What's a feeling a lot of us have? Just kind of like a real common feeling we have. Fear's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, fear is actually a really good one. Let's do fear. Everybody. And what's kind of something people might feel in real life afraid about?
Walking to school.
Walking to school. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, fear. Like the biggest fear pose you could have. And breathe. Okay. Stay in that pose for a minute if you can. Can you tell me what this feels like in your body?
My heart is racing.
Your heart is racing.
Yeah. My stomach feels really funny. My muscles feel tight.
What would it feel like to feel the opposite? What's the opposite of fear?
Feeling free.
Free? What else?
No. Just comfortable.
What does it feel like when you feel safe in your body?
You feel relaxed. You feel like you want to try new things.
Okay, let's everybody, even if you've never felt this way, see what it would feel like to feel really safe in your body, your face, your heart. Okay, 1, 2, 3, safe. If safety had a voice, what might it say?
I love you.
I love you. I know this is a crazy question, but is that something you could tell yourself?
Yeah.
You know, do me a favor. Will everybody go into that fear pose? And then when I say switch, you go into the safety pose. Heart is beating, shaking your hands. Fear, fear. Okay, what is fear saying? Okay, unfreeze. Take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath. And now this is safety. So feel it first in your body. What could safety say to fear?
I love you. I support you. I have your back. And I'm here for you.
Let's all say that together. 1, 2, 3.
I love you.
Love you.
I support you.
You.
I have your back. And I'm here for you.
And I'm here for you.
Well, you may not have liked the quality of that video, but I liked the quality of that video. And and it's powerful to see the bypass from the cognitive brain and the verbal expression. It's powerful. So I remember in my own therapeutic process with my own therapist, her suggesting I take an improv class. This is before drama therapy. This is many, many decades ago. And because she thought at that point I was an attorney and used my,
what a great idea.
Go to an improv group. Yeah. And then I'm thinking, as you were talking, I'm fascinated also by, we had one guest who talked about internal family systems. And so what you're doing is you're externalizing the drama and the characters of internal family systems to make them visible in some fundamental way.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I love internal family systems. When I do work with families also. We do role play but about the different parts of ourselves. And I don't remember in the video if we call it inside, and where it's like that balloon in a cartoon where they're covering everything up. They don't want to say anything, and then we say inside. And first, it's the actor who will let out the secrets of what's going on. And once externalized, the group can feel safe because we've said it for them.
And it's not so big.
It's not so big.
Not so big.
No.
What goes on in our heads seems so big.
But when you externalize it and are so non-judgmental, and of course you feel that way. Of course you can see the character felt this way. And there's always a cognitive part to the work, particularly because a lot of the students that I worked with had real impulse control problems, So we would always stop and think in the middle and say, well, why do you think, this is happening?
That's great. So you're
So
using both sides.
you have to. Well, you don't have to. Some drama therapists don't. I mean, this is a particular method.
Right. That makes sense to me. Can you differentiate for me the difference between psychodrama and drama therapy?
Everybody always asks me that. And it's a fair question, because psychodrama, Morano, I mean, it was very, at least understood by the therapeutic community, whereas drama therapy is a little newer. Psychodrama, we use psychodrama techniques. Psychodrama often, have you done psychodrama? Or
I have participated in psychodrama.
Yeah, there's something called doubling, where there's another person behind you speaking for you. There are techniques that we use. Drama therapy's theory, the drama therapy world has a theory, which is that we all play different roles in our lives. We're a mother, we're a lawyer, we're a best friend, right? And we believe that the hypothesis is that mental health is that you're able to balance, once again, my book, Stuck in a Role, that you don't get just stuck. I am only this. I'm only a mother, right? But no, maybe you're a singer also. Maybe you're an artist. So what we do in drama therapy is we try to expand the roles, help people recognize the different roles that they are either suppressing, not allowing the expression of. Drama therapy embodies those different roles. Psychodrama, and then, works through there. And we use story, and we use improv, and we use theater games. And there are many methods of drama therapy. There's a book called Current Approaches to Drama Therapy. That's the textbook. The ENACT method is only one of, I think there's 16. Okay. We tend to use actors, because my background is as an actor. So I love it. Most drama therapists don't. They use, and we also use ourselves, but drama therapy is based, to my understanding, it goes much deeper very quickly into the psyche. Drama therapy, and particularly my method, works from the outside in. That's why I use actors, because I'm really trying to create a sense of safety. Drama therapists use puppets and masks, so that there's an initial safety built in, where my understanding, and psychodrama is not my specialty, but is that it sort of goes right in, and it's important to also be in therapy when you're doing psychodrama. And a lot of role switching, which is very good. There's also something I love called playback theater. Do you know about that? Mm-hmm. I love it. That's really spreading. And that's not as therapeutic. It's more of a community-based mental health theater troupe that's all over the country now, where the audience, they'll pick someone who'll tell their story, and then they pick different people in the audience. Let's say it's a family conflict. You're going to play the mother, you're going to play the sister, and they direct.
I do that in workshops, just as an exercise, right?
Of course.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing, just to say about the ENACT method, is when we did it, I'm in New York City, so I have access to great actors. We created when we worked with someone for a whole year, we did off-Broadway shows in which we used real professional actors. They would do the doubling, right? So it was very safe. They would be the storyteller and side by side with like the students. So for example, after September 11th, we were called in because therapists were unable to get kids to talk. They were in too much trauma. And we created a
vehicle.
Yeah. So.
Well, Diana Feldman, I really appreciate, we have spent a half an hour talking and it felt like 5 minutes. I would love once again to have you come back and we'll continue our conversation. This has been amazingly insightful.
And such good questions. You can see after 30 years, I'm still, very passionate about this.
Oh, I love that.
But your questions really nail it down, and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you for joining this webinar. Tune in to more webinars and sign up for our newsletter at o'connorpg.com.